Your top performer isn't selling right now and you're worried they're going to leave. Worse yet, they're starting to complain. The rest of the team's hearing that. And the team is starting to complain to you about pricing's too high, the competition has a better product, nobody's buying right now, the economy's crap, etc., etc. You've heard it all. So what do you do in that case? A lot of sales leaders will take the opportunity to coach that top performer. They'll dive into the depths of how they're spending their days, how they're having conversations, the language they're using. And in fact, that's the wrong thing to do. It's the last thing you want to do with a top performer. What you need to focus on instead is what I call motivation through mentorship. Hi, I'm Shawn Casemore, and I help you learn how to be a top performing sales professional and leader so that you can earn more money in less time. If that sounds good to you, make sure you click the like button below on this video and subscribe if you'd like more videos just like this. Now, relative to motivation by mentorship, there's 4 key steps that you can take when it comes to dealing with a top performer who's not selling or is in a bit of a lull right now. Step 1, join them in some upcoming meetings. Now, the key is in how you join this meeting. You're going to have to suggest you invite yourself in, right? You're going to have to make the suggestion that you join in, but not for the purpose of micromanaging, not for the purpose of listening. So an introduction to that might be something like, hey, John, I'm actually going to be available next Tuesday. I know you've got that meeting with that potential client. Would you mind if I tag along? I'm just trying to stay current with what's going on with the team and some of the challenges that they're facing, right? This works really well if the team has been complaining about your price is too high, your product is wrong, whatever the complaint is. You can turn that around and use it as an excuse to want to sit in on this meeting. So the reason you do this is in this meeting, there's no coaching. You're observing, you're listening, right? And don't you be the one to take over the meeting. Let them talk. The whole goal of sitting in the meeting is you might be able to pick up on some things that maybe they're not doing well. You see, sometimes when a top performer gets into a rut, they get into some bad habits that they don't necessarily realize. So your goal is to participate in the meeting by sitting, listening, observing, letting them take the lead. And then after that conversation's had, after the meeting is done and you're heading back to the office or what have you, simply say to that team member, say, well, let me ask you a question. How do you think you did in that meeting? Right? Then a follow-up question would be, if you could do that meeting again, what would you change? Now, if this is a top performer, chances are if they didn't do something well, they're going to know it and they're going to tell you how to change it. And just by doing that externally, by sharing that with you, it opens up a dialogue. So if they share with you, oh, I think I rushed to try and close too quickly, you could say, okay, that's interesting. Well, look at it. I mean, sometimes when the pressure's on, we can all get into that trap, right? So let's talk about how you avoid rushing to the close. Let's talk about some strategy. So it gives you the chance to open up a dialogue and actually do a little bit of indirect coaching, meaning you're not coaching them, you're sitting back and having a dialogue and giving them some tips and suggestions on what they might do next time. But it's got to be based on their observation. If they share nothing with you, if they say, yeah, that was the best meeting I ever did, and it wasn't, you've got to take a different approach. And in that case, you are going to be a little bit more direct by saying, well, can I suggest a couple tips, a couple changes you might make, and then start the conversation? So that's step 1, right? And the reason I call this mentorship is it's not about more coaching. It's about sitting in, observing, kind of being that mentor, being that support person to them, and then having a discussion afterwards. And of course, sharing some ideas. You're not trying to mandate what they do. You're trying to give them some suggestions and ideas. Remember, this is a top performer. They know what to do, but we all get into ruts. We develop some bad habits, and sometimes it takes an external person to have a look at those habits. The second thing that I would suggest you do is you want to encourage them with stories of your own experiences. Regardless of how long you've been a sales leader or in a leadership role, you sold at some time. Maybe it was even in a different company. But the reality is we've all had lulls. We've all had slow times. We've all faced, in some cases, disasters where we've had to try and navigate that, right? So share that openly. Enough sales leaders aren't transparent about their own experiences with their team. And unfortunately, that can give the team the sense that, oh, well, Shawn thinks he's the best because, right? So be open. Say, look, I had some challenges myself once. Here's what happened. Here's how I navigated through it. Here's how I would do it differently next time, right? Just be human. That's the mentorship piece. The goal is not to tell them what to do. The goal is to let them know, hey, I've been there before. Here's some things I tried, and to start that conversation and get them thinking about what they might do differently, right? You cannot make decisions for them. They have to make those decisions. The third thing that you'll want to do, and again, you can do all of these steps or you can just try one at a time, do them individually, because individually they can actually be just as effective as collectively. Okay. So you don't have to follow these as 4 steps. However, the third thing that you'll want to do with them is brainstorm some ideas on how to move them forward. Now, that brainstorming, again, it's a dialogue. It's not you sharing the ideas, it's you asking the questions. So if they share with you, hey, I'm really frustrated, my pipeline is not that full, I didn't close this big deal, whatever the case is, you might say, well, if you have a few minutes, let's brainstorm some ideas on how to get past this. Then you simply ask questions. Hey, have you ever been in a lull like this before? And what did you do to get out of it? Hey, have you ever experienced feedback like that from a client or a customer? And how did you respond, right? Take whatever their scenario is, turn it around as a question, let them speak first. That's the mentorship piece here. And then you can simply share observations and ideas for them to then consider, right? So brainstorm a bit with them about solutions to move them forward. Don't tell them what to do. Don't micromanage them through coaching. Have a conversation, prompt them with questions, and get them to open up a bit to you. The fourth strategy that you can try, and again, this is maybe the last one I would try, hence why I put it last, is that you might suggest if they're a top performer and this just seems to be a lull, you might suggest they take some time off. That's a little bit counterintuitive, but the reality is, if they're a top performer and they've sold this product or these services in the past, then they know what to do. Sometimes the stress of being in a lull forces us to put more pressure on ourselves, and therefore we perform even worse. So time off, a week off, an extra long weekend, taking a Monday, Friday off, for example, can be rejuvenating and refreshing, and it can help bring some new perspective. So I would say if the other 3 haven't worked, you might suggest they take a little bit of time off. Counterintuitive, but it can be highly effective. So when it comes to trying to ensure that that top performer doesn't leave, the key is not to coach them, it's to mentor them. And you motivate them, you re-engage them through mentorship. And that mentorship, through the examples I've shared with you, is all about dialogues, conversations, sharing perspectives, asking questions, and most importantly, listening. Remember, they know how to sell. They just need you to help them get past this rough spot. If you've enjoyed this video, make sure you check this one out next. I think you'll enjoy it. And until next time, I look forward to seeing you then. Let's get out there and go sell something. Talk to you soon. Take care.